Hello, happy stampers. Kate Creasy here with Kate's Paper Creations, ready to bring you another card building video using some of the products from the current catalogs, both the annual and the new January to June mini catalog, as well as the celebration catalog, all from Stampin' Up. The celebration and mini both went live on the, on the 4th of January. And so it's time to start making some more cards. Okay, so this is what I'm going to make with you today. And just more of an experiment than anything else. So let's get started and I'll show you what we're doing. I will be using, for the embellishments, the brushed brass butterflies. Say that 3 times fast. I love this. This is my Bling Without Bulk. That's what I love about those. Then I'm also going to be using the Friendly Hello stamp set and Designer Series papers. They come together as a bundle in the celebration catalog, and they're free with a $100 order. So that's the stamp set. This is the papers, and I have kind of picked out my favorites. They're on top. So these are the papers. So these are my 3 favorites, these 3 right here. And of course they're double-sided. So you have 3 different things. And then there's also some others in there that are just absolutely awesome. When I am storing my papers, I have these 12 by 12 sleeves that I got from Stampin' Storage, and I really like them. And I have a shelf that then they lay on, and so it keeps it all together for me. And then I keep a piece of the backing from the packaging, and I write on it here. This is from the SAB, and it's got Basic Black, Fresh Freesia, Granny Apple Green, Petal Pink, Pool Party, and Shaded Spruce are the colors in this paper. And I do that because when I pull them out, I'll go, now I want to coordinate. What color is that? And I always want to know. And of course they print it on the back, and it's really tiny, and I can't see it. So this is what I do. So anyway, just thought I'd tell you. Okay, so this is the card we're going to make. So I am obviously using Pale Papaya here for the base card. I'm also going to be using the Pretty Flowers embossing folder. That's in the current annual catalog on page 22, and it's only $7.50. And I'm going to be using the Layering Circles dies, which are a carryover from a previous catalog. They're currently still in the annual catalog, and they are found on page 163, and they're $35. Then I'm going to also be using a variety of colors in the blends pens and Versamark ink, because this bird design from the stamp set is stamped with Versamark and embossed with black embossing powder. Both still available in the annual catalog, and then they're colored with the blends pens. Okay, so I already did some of the work. It's going to go pretty quick for us here. This is the 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4 card, embossed on the front with that lovely Pretty Flowers embossing folder, just to give the background some texture. I have a hard time with just plain flat backgrounds. I do them, but sometimes I just have to have something. Then this is a piece of that Pretty Flowers embossing paper, and it is cut 3 1/4 by 4 1/2, and we're going to just attach it to the front at an angle like this. So let's do that. I'm using the Stampin' Seal adhesive. Very good adhesive. If you want to be assured that your cards will never fall apart when you've sent them to someone, this is the clear dope. It works really well. Okay, so then that's on there. Now, here is how I built this piece. I took vellum and I stamped the image. I just cut a square big enough for the image. I stamped it with Versamark. I embossed it with black embossing powder, and then I cut it out. And I cut it out using the 2 5/8 inch plain circle die. Okay. Then I cut out this, and it was solid. It had a center in it. Okay. It cuts out the whole thing. And this was the, find it here, the 2 3/4 inch scallop die. Then I took the 2 3/8 plain die and centered it and cut the center out, so I have just the ring. So I hope that makes sense. I cut it out and it comes out as a full solid piece. Then I put the plain die in the middle and cut it again, so I'd have just a ring, because what I'm going to do is fasten this like this to the back of it, and then we're going to raise it up. But first we're going to color it. And I had a piece of white here for my, that might do it. Okay, so we're going to color this with Blends pens, and I used Bermuda Bay for the flowers, and it's kind of like the stained glass effect, I guess. And I wanted it raised because I want it to let the light kind of come through it a little bit, because the vellum just looks so cool. So I'm starting with the Bermuda Bay light, and I'm just coloring the entire flower. And I'm coloring the front side at this point. Now you do have to let this dry or daub it with a piece of tissue paper or something, because the ink will get on the embossing part, and this will dry on any surface, okay? And because it's black, it comes through just fine. But if you were doing it on regular paper and you had embossing, it wouldn't dry. Regular ink won't dry on that embossing powder. So then you have to daub it with a tissue paper or something and get that ink off of the part that won't dry, so that you can put it down, because it won't dry on that. And I'm testing it, and what I did, it's fairly pale there, but you know, it's okay. Let's go ahead and keep going. I'm going to use the dark now to add some accents, and I think I'll use the brush end of this one as well, and just come in here and do this around those accent marks that give you the perfect place to place your shading. And that looks pretty good. A tip that you could know, I'm going to put something under this just in case there's some wet ink still, is that you can also turn it over, and if you haven't gotten a dark enough color on the front to suit you, you can take and color the back. So I'm going to take the light Bermuda Bay, and I'm going to go over the back of these flowers, and it will richen the color. It will make it more opaque. So it's kind of whatever you're looking for it to be, okay? If you want it less opaque, then you wouldn't need to do this. Or you could just color the back to start with and not color the front at all. So it's a toss-up, but you can see, I think you can see that it did make a difference in how dark it looks against that. So there was the flowers. Let's get those closed up. I want to keep our alcohol pins closed up when we're not using them, so they won't dry out on us. Then I need that Mossy Meadow, because I'm going to do those leaves. And like I say, most of the leaf is black, but there is some part here between the stems and stuff that is not. And so the green will show just a little bit, just a hint, and I do want it to show up a little bit better, so I'm going to turn it over and do that. Okay, now we're going to do the birdie, and for the birdie, I am going to, that's not the one I want. Let's see, is this the one I want? I wanted, oh, here it is. Too many pens on my table. Pale Papaya. And I'm going to use that for the bird, as well as some crumb cake. And I think I'm going to use light crumb cake. And I'm going to color the birds. My lighting is, and it's coming out very pale. And I'm just going to color the whole bird, because we're going to come back and add some other shading here in just a minute. And then I'm going to take the light Pale Papaya, and I'm going to add some Pale Papaya to the bird's breast here. I can't see it, my lighting is really bad. Let's let that dry for a minute. Come back to it. We need a darker color for the wing. We'll do soft suede, and it's the light one. Let's see how it comes out. Yeah, that's looking good. I'm going to come up here and blend that in a little bit so it's not quite so abrupt. Like I say, it's totally up to you how you go about it. Get the right caps on stuff here. I think I'll come back with some dark, because I'm not getting enough papaya in here. I think it's because I colored the whole thing. Let's give it some time to dry just a little bit, and we'll come back and fix that. Let's get the caps on these things. While I'm letting that dry to add more color, I can bring in the piece of cardstock and the Hello Friend stamp, and I'm going to stamp this with Bermuda Bay stamp pad. That dry, and I'm just stamp it here, just like that. Pretty dark. Sometimes things surprise you, but it's okay. We'll just keep it. And then what I did is I had one ready, so I'll just use the one I already have cut out so that you can see it here, because then I just cut around it. And we're going to just attach it here on the front with dimensionals, and we can go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and do that. Not going to hurt a thing to go ahead and finish that piece. That's good enough. Doesn't need a bunch. And I'm putting it on an angle right there. I like that. Okay, let's see if this has dried enough that I can add some color, and I'm going to add it to the back here, and then we'll turn it over. Oh, it's coming out. See how it's coming out now? Oh, it looks good. I love it. I like that little soft orange breast color. You can see it hopefully on there a little bit. Okay. So now I am going to attach this to this on the back, and there is just enough room to run a bead of glue around the edge. You can use whatever glue you want. I use my handy dandy squeeze pen glue here, zigzag squeeze pen, and I'm just going to run a circle of dots all the way around this opening on the back side of my die cut piece, just like that. And then I'll turn this over, And we'll just lay it down carefully on there like that. And you know, you don't have to get it absolutely perfect. You just don't want it to show, you want it to be enclosed in the circle. And it's okay if you cover up a piece of your flower. It's not going to hurt anything. So there's that. Then to attach it to the front of the card, I decided I wanted it dimensionalized. Now, I could have solved that problem by using adhesive foam sheets. And I could have cut this round piece out with adhesive foam sheets, and then it would have already been raised. But because I didn't do that, and because sometimes we don't have that product or whatever, I do have these foam adhesive strips. And so what I did is I just cut little short segments of that and attached a few of them around, and just made sure that I stayed, the width of it is perfect. It won't show from the front. And as long as you don't cut them too long, they will not show. You know, if you try to get too long on a long straight piece on a round item, obviously, would be a little bit more challenging. But this is what I ended up doing, and it worked. And so, you know, I'll just share that with you. Obviously, it would have created, if I'd used the foam sheet, I would have created a circle that came out of the center that was raised foam, and you could have used it for, you know, it could be used for another project. I think I'm going to put one more on there. Okay, and then I just got to get the pieces off of it. And do tell me what you think. That one's gone. If you'd rather see me do all the steps, let me know that. I would be happy to show more of the steps rather than just discuss them. But if you like the videos to be just a little bit shorter and quicker, that's up to you too. I know most of the people that are watching are probably already demonstrators and have a certain skill level already, but when there's new people, I don't want to neglect you either. So, and then of course placement of this is totally up to you, but I've just done it in that direction. So we'll push stuff out of the way, and we'll bring in the two cards. This one still needs its bling. Let's do that. Now obviously you could place these butterflies anywhere you want. I decided that in here in the circle was the best place for them, and so that's what I did. And like I said, it's totally up to you. But you're going to find these butterflies are going to show up on a lot of my items because I am in love with these butterflies. Okay, there is today's card. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm glad you came, and I hope you have a good day. We'll see you soon.